God had a job for Jonah, but Jonah didn't want it.
Go to Nineveh and tell your worst enemies that I love them.
No, them are bad people.
Exactly. They have run far away from me, but I can't stop loving them. I will give them a new start. I will forgive them.
No, them don't solve it. I go this way.
Jonah boarded a boat to the opposite direction of Nineveh. Well, it wasn't long before a fierce wind blew, and the boat started to lurch and pitch and roll, and everyone started turning green. Jonah sat bolt upright in his bed. You see, the first thing that went wrong with Jonah's not very good plan was that God sent a big storm after him. The sailors couldn't sail their ship properly.
We're sinking, we're sinking. Throw everything off. That's my fault. Pull me off the board.
And so 1, 2, 3. No sooner had Jonah hit the water than the waves grew calm, the wind died down, and the storm stopped. Just then, when Jonah thought it was all over, when he was sure he was going to drown, God sent a big fish to rescue him. The fish swallowed Jonah whole with one big gulp. Jonah must have thought he'd died. It was so dark in there, like in a tomb. But then he smelled the rotting food and felt the slimy seaweed and knew he wasn't dead. He was in the belly of the fish. Sitting there in the darkness for 3 whole days, Jonah had plenty of time to think. Pretty soon, he realized his plan was, well, a very silly plan indeed. He was sorry for running away. He prayed to God from inside the great fish and asked God to forgive him. After 3 days, the fish spat Jonah safely out onto a sandy beach. Just then, Jonah heard someone calling his name.
Jonah, go to Nineveh.
And this time, Jonah said,
Yes. I'm going. That way goes to that way, so and that way goes to that way, so I go this way. Go. God still loves you, so turn to Him. Will He forgive me? Yes. I will love God.
The people of Nineveh listened to Jonah and they started loving God. They learned to do what God said and to stop running away from him, just like Jonah. Many years later, God was going to send another messenger with the same wonderful message. Like Jonah, he would spend 3 days in utter darkness, but this messenger would be God's own son. He would be called the Word because he himself would be God's message. God's message translated into our own language. Everything God wanted to say to the whole world in a person.
God still loves you, so turn to Him.